right, well, thanks for joining us in Missouri for our roadshow. And I'm joined today with Brent Kennedy. Brent, I appreciate you taking some time out of the field today. Brent, tell me a little bit where we are and a little bit about agriculture in the area.
We're just about a mile out of Wheatland, Missouri on 54 highway. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of considered central Missouri.
Yep.
West central Missouri, so just not a big farming area, but there is some row crop ground around here.
Definitely. Somebody knows Wheatland, it's because the Diamond and Dirt Tracks is just a few miles from us right here, right? Lucas Oil.
Yes.
And one thing, we're standing in a beautiful wheat field that we're going to talk about here in a minute. But when I think about agriculture in this part of Missouri, we're actually pretty diverse, right? From where I'm standing right here, we've got corn on the other side of the road. We've got beans just on this side.
Yep.
We're wheat, and then we've got cattle just down the road.
Yes.
So kind of tell me about what your operation looks like.
It's some cattle, and I do mostly row crop, mostly leased ground from others, and just try to grow. I grow some Milo, I grow wheat, I grow beans, and grow corn. I try to diversify it as well because you never know where the market's going to be good. So it's just not a big operation by any means. So just try to make a living.
Definitely. I completely understand that. But let's talk a little bit about diversification, right? Because I think that's one thing that you do really well right here. So you brought up a crop that 20 years ago we talked a lot about Milo, but we don't talk so much about it now. When you think about Milo and why you're growing it, location-wise, environment, you got a good market for it?
The environment's really good for me. It's actually better for Milo than I feel like it is for corn around this part of the state. But the market is why people quit growing it here, because you have to haul it so far to get rid of it. And a lot of them just gave up on it. But I can usually grow 100 bushel Milo easier than I grow 100 bushel corn sometimes. Some years the rains seem to go north of us when we are needing them, and that's why I think it's a little tougher. Milo does definitely take the drought better.
Oh yeah, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about environment. So we kind of think about this area. I like to joke with people, we go a little bit east and we're in the Ozarks, right?
Yes.
Soils get real thin and real rocky in a hurry. We go just a little bit west and we're in the Kansas prairie. And so here is really kind of a mix, is what I feel like.
It is. It kind of seems like a transition spot a little bit for, you go north and you run back into some hills like where my house is at. It gets kind of hilly and it's cattle ground. It's not crop ground at all. And yeah, I agree. It's kind of a different area.
So as we think about all of the different soils we have, we think about, man, we don't have to go very far for it to get thin. What has the growing season looked like so far? That answers all of it right there.
Is it okay to use cuss words?
That's right.
No, it's been tough. We've just stayed wet enough that it's really held me up on a lot of the planting. I'm way behind. Usually done by the middle of May, and I didn't even start till middle of June. So it's been tough. It's just like this field right here, combine 90 bushel wheat off of it and hoping to get beans behind it. Now we got an inch, I'd say inch and a half of rain at least on it. It's a muddy mess.
And like you said, the rain's been spotty. You said you picked up an inch and a half here and you got 2/10 of the house, and you really needed to switch around.
Yes, that's exactly the way the whole year's went.
Definitely. It seems like it's been that way. Southern Illinois, Southern Indiana, we're seeing the exact same thing.
Yeah, get north of here, and we went up and picked up a conveyor up in Iowa a couple weeks ago, and they needed rain up there. It was on the southeast corner of Iowa, and it looked bone dry up there to me, and everything was planted, and it needed a drink. It looked to me like.
So let's talk about your wheat here. We walked in, you've got a little bit left to cut over here just behind us. Wheat looks phenomenal. You're saying around 90 bushel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's phenomenal wheat. I don't care who you talk to.
It's the best I've ever grown, honestly.
But you said you're going to follow it with soybeans.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit. What does it look like with double crop beans where you are in Missouri? Kind of what are your goals? What are some tips and tricks you have? Because beans are hard. Let's just be honest. They're kind of finicky.
They're tough.
So what have you done over your career to kind of push that, right? To be able to make it pay the best that it can?
Well, of course, whenever you come in and top dress this with nitrogen in the spring, you definitely want to go ahead and put your P and K on for your beans, and just I mean, basically, rain is our biggest problem. Normally, it's lack of, but this year's going to be different.
We got puddles right there under the header, so.
So it's going to be a lot different this year, but mainly just that. But actually, Hickory County, this is going to be last year was the first year you could actually insure double crop beans without a history. So I haven't done just a ton of double cropping. I have actually double cropped some Milo as well and had it work, but it's kind of tough. Some guys might push 40 bushel, if you with double crop beans, which would be really good, I'd consider.
Sure.
But a lot of times, it's in that 30 range if you have the weather for it. It's
right.
Just not
you just never know on these heavy soils what's going to happen with that.
That's right.
What kind of maturities are you running?
I run a lot of the mid to late 4s.
Okay, you're trying to push that growing season.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Seems like if you go too short on the maturity, that it kind of runs out of steam, and they just start wanting to shut down as soon as the days get shorter and those longer. I mean, I'm no agronomist by any means.
You're raising great crops, so we know you are.
But you just don't want them to shut, shut off.
Right.
And the longer season ones they'll keep putting on blooms, and they'll, just kind of keep trying to make even if the days do get shorter.
Right.
And as long as you keep getting the moisture and.
Yeah, it seems like one thing we do have going for us here is a lot of times our growing season can go ways into the fall.
It can.
And so you're kind of picking up that back end.
It's kind of like it's changed. I mean, last fall, whenever we was cutting beans, around the first part of October, it was 90 degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, it was miserable. It was dusty, miserable. It was dry, and it was so dusty, and it really didn't cool off here till mid-November.
Yep.
I mean, we had one frost there kind of early, but I don't remember exactly the date, but it was seems like the frost date is later and later. Of course, I say that, and it'll be in September this year.
That's right.
I've seen them in September here.
You're like, John, those late season beans didn't work this year.
Yeah, so I didn't do it right.
So one thing I really enjoy is obviously I know your family as well, and they're sitting right over here off the camera, right? But you farm with your family. And, I loved it. My wife was talking to your wife, I think it was earlier this week, and they talked about how last week they're running seed to you and getting everything in the ground. I love that part of agriculture, right? Especially around here, because it's the whole family all together.
Yes.
So kind of talk to me, what does it look like farming with your young daughter, farming with your wife? What are your hopes and dreams there?
Oh, I hope that she takes a good interest in it and wants to do it. And I know sometimes that don't happen the way you want.
That's right.
But I really enjoy when she helps and is able to help with going around ball games and not being in school or whatever. Right. So I hope she can, continue on whenever I decide to hang it up. So I'd love to see it, really would. And because I'm pretty much a first generation farmer. I mean, my dad's always had cattle and stuff, but I mean, as far as crops, I'm pretty much just a first generation. I didn't get a lot handed down to me.
That's
I just started in and tried to make it work. It's just trying to scratch out a living.
Definitely, push it forward. And everybody I visit with, right, when we think agriculture, it's generation and generation.
It is. A lot of people, 5 generations, and 6. I seen a show on TV, they was 7. And it's like, wow.
But it's those hopes and those dreams, right?
Yes.
That's the reason that we're out doing it.
Which my granddad farmed on the Palm de Terre River, in the way back there in the Depression, and he sharecropped a lot of ground. Of course, it's under Truman Lake now.
And that's kind of an interesting thing around here.
Yeah.
Right? When we think back, what was that, 30, 40 years ago?
Yes.
A lot of what we would call prime ground is now flooded.
It's underwater.
But you also farm some core ground, is that right?
I farm quite a bit. I mean, just core land, and it's very challenging. So it's kind of it's super good ground if you can just get it in and get it out. It's the best ground, that I farm is along that river. But it's also the highest risk ground.
I was going to say, because that's a flood control dam, right? So we get a lot of rain, it's going to come up on us.
It's going to back up, And sometimes it goes off quick, and sometimes it's on a while. But
definitely.
I've actually lost a little corn this year.
Oh, have you really?
Probably 100 acres or something.
Oh, wow.
But then it came back up, so there was no sense in replanting it. So it's just going to be what it's going to be at this point.
Most definitely. It definitely seems like no matter where we are, I was out in Kansas earlier, I mean, it just challenges.
It
and it's
is.
about how you overcome that.
Well, all the moisture. I've got corn that's knee high, and I've got corn that's tasseling in the same field. So I'm pretty sure that the knee high stuff isn't gonna. I think it's gonna hurt the stuff that's tasseling.
That's right.
And making, so
When we get our average, we're gonna section that one out a little bit.
yeah, it's been tough, and but you know, it's been nice to have replanted some of these places that they're just, you know, we've just stayed wet enough that there's. I mean, I'm not complaining about the rain because last year once it shut off, you remember what it was. It was
there was
bone
nothing.
dry. Yeah, we was just done, and I hope it don't do that this year, but it's been known to.
Yeah, at least we have a little water. We'll think about it.
Yeah, that's true. We ought to have enough to last a few days anyway.
That's right. Well, Brent, I really appreciate your time. I know you guys are busy, and so I just appreciate you stopping to visit with me.
Well, thank you for having me.